Can we actually reverse the foster care crisis in our country? Yes, we can. The church can do it. This is generation changing, eternity changing kind of stuff that can happen. And dude, it started with a request for a crib. And I had zero intention of ever being in ministry.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to How Change Happens. I've got Adrien Lewis here today. He's the founder and president of CarePortal. And I think the reason that you're going to be really interested in this episode is if you are or have been gripped by foster care and adoption and what is actually, I think you'll back me up on this, a problem that we really could make a big impact in if the church saw it and engaged in it. And so thanks for joining me, Adrien.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. It's nice to hang with you, John Mark.
Okay, tell me a little bit about where the idea for CarePortal came from. Like in your personal story, what drew you to launch this and make this kind of, the mission of your life?
Yeah, I love to share this God story, and I also love the Send community. I mean, my engagement with you all over the last 3 or 4 years has been awesome. The Send event in Kansas City a few years back was special for me. And I know that there are thousands of people there who God moved on to do something different in their life than what they had been doing. And I had my own experience like that, and not at the Send event, but 2007. My wife and I went on a mission trip to Haiti, first mission trip I'd ever been on. I'm a relatively new believer at the time, only for 3 or 4 years, and mission trip was new to me. I was like, I got invited. I said, okay. And we're there, we're there in this foreign country. And the purpose of the trip was really just to hang out with kids who had no family. They lived in an orphanage, right? They were, they were the least of these in every way that you can think of. And God was doing some absolutely amazing things through them. Amazing things. And so, fun story. My wife and I are like the third day probably on this trip, and we're on this field in the middle of this community that was financially wrecked. I mean, nothing, and so you got this field surrounded by these mountains, and we're walking on this field. We had just heard the vision for there being homes there one day, like a place for kids who had no homes. There's a school there, and kids are walking miles to go to school there, and many are on the streets. So we're walking on this field, John, and I just had a moment with the Lord, holding my wife's hand, a moment that I would call supernatural. I just experienced the Lord's presence. And I would say I went from being a believer to being a follower in that
Oh,
moment.
cool.
Yeah. Like, not a small thing, man. A big thing. Yeah. And the Lord gave us a purpose. I mean, it was the first time in my life I considered purpose bigger than make as much money as you can, be a good guy, raise your family, do the right things, but really a purpose. I mean, he awakened our hearts to the cry of the most vulnerable, and to every person I know to have a purpose. Like, I was awakened to help people experience the Lord in a way that transformed their life, which is one of the things I love about the Send. Like, that's actually the objective. How do you help people have moments with the Lord where he awakens purpose for them that is bigger than themselves, that is kingdom? And so that was the moment that it started. I didn't tell you anything about CarePortal, but if you want to go back to the beginning, man, like, that was it. That was the start.
And what was it specifically in that moment? What did you have any vision for what it would look like, or was it just I need to be involved? I need to give Jesus my yes about caring for, the least of these.
Yeah, I mean, you just nailed it. In that moment, it was, I need to give Jesus my yes about caring for the least of these. Like, that
Wow.
was the thing.
Yeah.
And we came home from that trip with, uh, a commitment to whatever that meant, you
Yeah.
know?
What were you doing at the time for work? Like, where was your life headed?
Yeah, so climbing a ladder, I've always been in business development. I had a small ownership in this company that built software and curriculum for nursing colleges, and,
Okay.
the company is called ATI. Great company, great people, great products, great customers. I mean, it was awesome. I loved everything about it, and I had 0 intention of ever being in ministry, like, 0.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
there was no, even when God gave us this purpose, it was no thinking, "Oh, one day I'm gonna leave my company and go into full-time ministry."
Yeah.
Nothing like that was in my
Huh.
purview. I didn't even know anybody who had done that at the time.
Questions naturally arise when you study your Bible. Logos is a place where you can get those questions answered. Imagine being able to ask C.S. Lewis to explain his thoughts about salvation. With Logos and their new study assistant, you can use the power of AI to mine the depths of the Bible and the most trusted theologians all in one place. If you sign up right now, you get a free 60-day trial and you can see how it impacts your Bible study. Go to logos.com/thesend and sign up now. I logged in and I asked Logos to help me understand how the disciples responded after Jesus gave them the Great Commission. And it gave me this really interesting summary with Bible verses and hyperlinks to books in the Logos library that I could dive into for more. If you're passionate about studying the Bible and if you want to learn from history's greatest theologians and get your personal questions answered, then this is definitely for you. The Bible, it's an ancient book, and you want to know that you're reading it well. So get the historical context, search passages and themes, and satisfy that longing that you have to know the Bible more. 6 million people are using Logos, and it's time for you to try it too. Go to logos.com/thesend, and you'll get that 60-day trial for free. Wow. And okay, so then where does the idea for CarePortal then come in? And how does this unravel? Is it, you come home and you're like, immediately things need to change, or did God take you on a
Mm.
journey?
God's always taking us on a journey, and the steps along the way kinda get revealed. The next thing that we did was, through prayer, really felt convinced that my wife was supposed to, leave her job and become a stay-home
Wow.
mom, which she had never done. This was new for our family, and it meant some significant changes for us. I mean, we were in the process of prioritizing children, just even our own home. That's where it began.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, not a small thing. So, at the time, she was the one making the most money too. Yes, it was like, we're gonna do this?" I mean,
Uh-huh.
I'm getting a little deep here, but we're sitting at the kitchen table with our oldest son. So we're a blended family. Our oldest son's my stepson. He's about to go to college, and the other 2 are little. They're 4 and 3 years old, and we're sitting at the table, and we're like, "Hey, Andrew, we believe that the Lord is asking mom to quit her job and, become a stay-home mom. And on our budget right here, the bottom number is red." Like, it's just the math doesn't add up. And he said, this is an 18-year-old boy, right? He's like,
Yeah.
"Well, doesn't that seem awfully irresponsible?" Uh, yeah, maybe, from a worldly perspective, absolutely, that's the right they think, but this is what God wants us to do. So this is what we're gonna do, and we did. She quit her job. We were in the
Fascinating.
red, and 6 months later, I get a uh, I get a promotion at my company, and money is no longer a constraint for us. Like, God just
Huh.
provided. I'm not saying, "Oh, do what God says and you'll be a millionaire." I'm not saying that. I'm saying, God provides. He takes care of his children, and when we're obedient, it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
It just is. And uh, yeah, so that happened, and then a couple years goes by, and my wife and I are investing in the ministry. It was called the Global Orphan Project. That's who we went
Mhm.
to Haiti with. We started leading trips. We became really close to leadership. I mean, this became part of our life. It was central to our conversations that we are helping to care for the most vulnerable around the world.
Yeah.
Um, we came alongside another family who was taking care of their grandkids in a foster situation. Like that was the first time we gotten close to it. And, they're hanging out with us and we're serving the grandparents and we're taking the kids to practice and my wife is tutoring. And so we're just coming alongside a
Yeah.
family. And, time goes by and I get an invitation 3 years later to leave my business to join the Global Orphan Project. This was
Oh,
like
wow.
yeah, this was like December of 2009. Pray on it, talk to my wife about it, get some wisdom from other people, three elder kinda guys in my life, and I'll tell you, man, my wife was in. Like,
Uh-huh.
her faith is big. She said right away, "Hey, if God is in this, I'm in. Let's go," you know? And I wasn't so convinced because
Well,
frankly, I was comfortable, man. Like,
yeah.
frankly, I liked my life and I liked what we were doing. And while I knew that God had given us a vision for purpose bigger than us, it didn't include me leaving my company. That's not what it included.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So here I am up against, hey, am I going to do what God wants me to do? How do I discern that? I imagine
Yeah.
people watching this have those same kind of questions. Lord, is that really you? This is what you really want from me?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, your word says that pure and undefiled religion is to care for the orphan and the widow in their distress. Yeah, it says that. Yes, of course, Matthew 25 says, when I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. But does that mean I'm supposed to leave my job? like,
Right. I mean, there was a part of you that was engaging with that. So you're like, maybe I'm doing that.
maybe I'm just good? Like, so, yeah, dude. I mean, it was hard. It was a big ask. It was a big. It seemed like a. It is. I'm not even downplay it. It is a life-changing decision.
Yeah. So how did you make that decision?
Um. All right.
I
So
guess I don't even know if you made the decision.
yeah, I was at the. I had met with these three guys, these three elder
Yeah.
guys, and one of them said something to me that I'll never forget. His name is Alan Dietrich. Alan said, Adrian, I don't think you should pray for clarity. I think you should pray for conviction.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, sit on that for a minute. We got some time. Like, really. I don't think you should pray for clarity. I think you should pray for conviction. I honestly, man, I didn't even know the difference until I wrestled with the question, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, God, make it clear. Show me how I'm going to pay my bills. Make it clear. Show me, how my kids are going to go to the school I want them to. Like, make it clear, God. Show me the path forward?
Yeah.
No. He was like, no, man, pray for conviction. And so,
Wow.
yeah, I'm sitting at the kitchen table a couple weeks later with my accountant. We had to file K-1 taxes and that kind of stuff. And I'm just sitting at the table and I remember having this moment, man, where the thought crossed my mind. Adrian, you are comfortable and you are afraid to give up your comfort.
Well,
Mm, how you like them apples? Yeah. So, what are you gonna do with that, Adrian? You gonna keep living in this false reality that comfort is the thing? Are you gonna stay there, or are you gonna trust the Lord and make a move? So,
yeah, it was kinda like comfort was that highest priority in your life, and God was saying, "Is that what you want at the top?"
is that what you want at the top? That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I go to my wife and I'm like, "Hey, babe, uh, I think we're supposed to give more money away, and I'm supposed to quit my job and join this ministry."
Oh, wow.
You wanna know what this crazy woman said? This crazy, amazing woman of mine said, "That sounds like God to me." That's it. We're in.
Dang. I mean, okay, I'm thinking back over the last several minutes and just this question of that the podcast poses, how does change happen? And I'm thinking about that initial risk that you guys took to have your wife kind of say, "Hey, I want to focus on kids." And I think that was a very interesting point because, and I guess I mean it's here again. God puts these opportunities in front of us, and there's always a risk and there's always uncertainty on the other side. And you're saying it's not about getting all your ducks lined up, having all the answers, having it all figured it out. It's kinda like, no, God's calling you into this adventure. I think about Abraham, into the wilderness, he was comfortable, and God's saying, "Do you wanna go on this adventure? Because there is a higher purpose. There is an adventure that I wanna take you on," and at some point, you just I guess you lean into the conviction? What did that feel like? You were kinda gripped in your heart or
Because we had said yes earlier to my wife quitting her job, I got to see the Lord be faithful.
Yeah,
Like, I got to experience his faithfulness in that. And sitting at that table with this idea of comfort being centered in my life, I was now face to face with, uh, "Do you still wanna follow me?" You know?
okay. Yeah,
Do you still? Right? Like, I showed you I'm faithful. Are you gonna keep with me on this
yeah,
or not? And so it was a moment of maybe understanding a level of sin that had crept in even. And not like I was sinning in my behavior, but in my prioritization.
yeah,
And so
mhm,
we aren't to pursue comfort. Yeah. So it was one of those moments where, you got a choice to make.
yeah. Yeah, that's the other interesting thing I think is the progression of it. God didn't tell you, okay, that after that first trip, go start your own organization. It was step by step, and each there was kind of a progressive surrender and a progressive kind of realization. Oh, if God took care of me here, then I can say that He did this, and He kind of walks you into your calling.
Yeah. He
That's
walked
interesting.
me into the calling. That's
Yeah.
exactly right, man. I have not put those words to it before. That's right on.
Huh. That's cool. Well, okay. I if I understand right, that's still not Care Portal. We're still not there.
That's
So you
right.
say so you say yes to this position, you're full-time in ministry,
Yeah.
you guys are kinda all in at that point,
Yeah.
and how does that evolve into Care Portal and, uh
Yeah. Yeah. So we're the Global Orphan Project is helping churches around the world care for orphans around the world, right? In many countries, probably 8 or 10 at that time. And my job was really in development. And we were building relationships and raising funding and using some of my business skills from before to apply to ministry the best way I could. Um, very different, but also some similarities, So God kind of preparing me for that. And then, on a trip to Uganda, and we're in Lira, Uganda. It's like north of the capital. It's, we're in this hut, this round hut behind the bishop's house. You been there before?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Like we're hanging out in this hut. We're drinking tea and we're having conversation in this round hut. And dude, out of nowhere, I hear in my head, take the foster care class. Just
Whoa.
out of nowhere. I mean, it
I
was
got goosebumps.
right on. It was it was not the context of the conversation. The language of foster care is not even an African thing, right? It's just not even a discussion. And it just hit me. The Lord just he just planted the thought in those words. And I text my wife. When I get home from the trip. I'm like, babe, this is what the Lord said. And and so we lean into it and we began to pray on it and try to confirm, is this really from the Lord? And he was gracious and he confirmed it. And so my wife and I got to the same place and say, okay, now what? Well, we'll take the class.
Huh.
And I'm in the second class, the second foster care class. This would have been the summer of 2011. And it was the first time my heart broke for the orphan.
Whoa. All these years.
And when I say broke, man, it's like it was it was like when I thought about the kids down the street from me who went to school with my kids, when I thought about what they have been through, when I was exposed to their stories, God broke me.
Huh.
Up to this point, he had pressed a purpose on me, right? Like he gave me a purpose. And part of my purpose was to see other people's lives transformed as they did the things God asked them to do. Like
Yeah.
I was supposed to be a champion for the transformation in others, like the transformation in myself. But this was a breaking, you know?
Yeah.
And so he awakened this thing and I'm grateful he did because as we got into fostering, it's hard, dude. Like it's not a cakewalk. It is. There are so many things you can't control that seem unnatural in bringing kids into your home who have different parents and who have caseworkers and who have all the
Yeah.
things, you know, like all the
100%.
things. And so uh he prepared us for it. And as we're walking this out in our own home, the founder of the Global Orphan Project goes through a moment. He's on a plane. He's flying back from the Philippines, and what he hears from the Lord is, "Stop flying over the kids in your own backyard."
Whoa. Wow.
Up until that point, the Global Orphan Project did nothing in the U.S. except for engage people to help serve overseas, right?
Yep.
And
Mhm.
so here I am. My wife and I have been through this process. We're starting to foster, and we like we're tagged. I'm tagged as the guy to lead this, right? Founder
Oh,
comes
no.
home. He's like, "Hey, we're doing this. Awesome, Adrian, go." And
Wow.
for a couple of years, we went, and in Kansas City, the message that we had, the objective that we had was to go to all the churches we knew and say, "Hey, there are 773 kids in Kansas City who currently need to be adopted. They're in foster care. Church,
Wow.
can we help you step into that calling?" And it got met with resistance.
Wow.
Like, "Man, that sounds nice and all, but I don't think it's for us." And not in those words, right? But
Yeah.
in the actions.
Yeah.
And here's the reality, for a pastor to stand up in front of their congregation and say, let's do this. We're called to serve the orphan and here's how we can do it. That pastor has to either know that that's the calling of the Lord for their congregation or feel personally called to it themselves, because it's really hard to stand up in front of people and say, let's do this, except I'm not going to, right? That's really hard. And it takes a level of maturity and commitment that's just hard, and so we got met with tons of resistance, and I get it, like, I understand. The 6-foot barrier, it's so high to foster or adopt. I know it's not for everybody, and so over the course of, like, 2 years, we're listening and learning and failing and trying to figure some stuff out, and we meet some people, and, we met this pastor in Texas. His name was Bishop Aaron Blake,
Mhm.
lived in Brownwood, Texas, and he had success. It was like the most clear success we found so far.
Wow.
First, he had success because he and his wife were called and they took in 6 boys, right? Brought their 6 kids to 12.
Whoa.
Not a small thing.
Oh,
Not a small thing. And and then he had success mobilizing his church to do the same. Like they fostered and adopted like 300 kids. There
oh my
it was
gosh.
crazy. Uh and not a big church. I mean, we're talking about a low income church in a small community. And then they had success mobilizing other churches to join them. And so that county, Brownwood County, Texas, became the first county in Texas that had more families waiting for kids than kids waiting for families.
No way.
Come on, church, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the beginning of this call, you said, this is a problem that we can solve. The church can do this. Yes,
Yeah.
the church can do this. It is not like, how am I gonna get to Mars or so no, it's not that crazy thinking. It's about surrender to the thing that God's asked us to do. That is
Yeah.
the barrier for all of us, right? And there was a lot of surrender and it happened. And so we came along his side and we learned and we invested. And after a bit of time, there was this document that our CEO wrote. His name is Joe Kinetic. He wrote a summary, basically, of what we had learned over the last couple of years and some like what it might be like in the future, if we had success. And I was just reading that document, and dude, it was another one of those moments. Like God just hit me with a vision,
Hmm.
just like pow. And it was
Yeah.
how to use technology to connect kids and families in crisis with churches in proximity that want to help. And it was it was so simple yet so revolutionary in a
Hmm.
way.
I want to personally invite you to come to the Send Conference. We're gathering for 2.5 days to encounter Jesus, gain clarity on our purpose, and actually live our faith outwardly. Not just inspiration, but real activation. Thousands of believers are coming July 23rd to the 25th. 2026 at the Anaheim Convention Center. If you've been wanting to anchor your year in Jesus and step into what God is calling you to, or if you're living missionally and you're ready to go to the next level, this is for you. Join Francis Chan, Christine Kane, Andy Bird, Carrie Job, Circle Rider Music, and Jesus Image Worship. Everybody's going to be there, and I'd love to see you there too. Registration link is going to be in the show notes. Check it out. Tell me, for people listening, and you've mentioned several times, like, you felt like God spoke to you. Uh, was it one of those, like, there's no doubt? Like, this was God's voice? Like, are you 100% certain? Is it 50%? Is it kind of just an intuitive feeling? Um, yeah, what is that process of like, man, I feel like this is God?
Yeah. I love the question, John, and I ask people that question a lot because I know we can experience the Lord in different ways. And
Yeah.
and I wish that everybody experienced the Lord at least in the ways that I do. And some people haven't. Like they don't. So even when I say these words, they think it's crazy talk or I get it. I'm not judging them for where they are. I'm just telling you this. When the Lord has intervened in my life in these pivotal moments, they are game-changing moments. They are moments where
Wow.
it has been, uh, I have a choice to make. Like, am I going to follow or not? And
Yeah.
so the example in Haiti, when he impressed upon me this purpose for the first time, that was a moment. There was no question that the Lord's presence was there. Not is bigger than me. Like I can't get there. So you're asking, how did you know? I couldn't get there. It wasn't in
Mm.
I didn't have the capability to get there, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm in Uganda and I hear take the foster care class, that thought makes no freaking sense. Like, what are we doing? What do we even have that thought for? Doesn't make any sense. And so here in this moment, I'm reading this document and it's a flash, like a vision that seems like I wasn't on a whiteboard. I wasn't trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. And so how do you know it's the Lord? It's bigger than you and it's in line with his word.
Yeah.
It can't be in conflict with who God is. That's how I know.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it catches your attention. It's something that's kind of out of the ordinary. I'm thinking like the burning bush in Moses. It caught his attention, and he went after it, and it changed his life.
those kinds of moments. That's right. And the three examples I gave you are not they're not the same. Like one is a feeling of presence, and purpose.
Yep.
Another one is actually words. Another one is a vision, not even words, right? So God doesn't have to show up the same way all the time.
Yeah.
These are hit, yeah. But the consistency is this is bigger than me. It's not of me, and
Yeah.
it's in line with His word.
Yeah. And so that last vision that you had, is that the blueprint that you used to found CarePortal?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Well, tell us finally
Yeah.
what is CarePortal? How is it making a difference in the foster care system?
Yeah, I'm happy to, and I'm just as happy also to share all that I did because sharing what God has done, you know, it's like the best thing in the world. It's the best
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I mean that's what's so fun about this podcast, I feel like, is you are looking at all these different stories about how God just grips people's lives, and he does. He speaks to them. And everybody's got these stories. It was like, yeah, it was in a moment, God gripped me, and then my life was never the same. And then you just listen to this adventure and this crazy thing of risk and trust and uh, God building something that they could have never imagined. That's really beautiful, and it's brilliant.
It's the creator knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
It does. All right, so creating Care Portal, I get this vision, how to leverage technology to connect kids and families in crisis with church in proximity, like who wants to help. And I bring it to our team and I'm saying, guys, this is from the Lord. And instantly there's an embracing, not like, well, no, it was, yes, this is from the Lord, which is
Wow.
confirming. And I will say, as an organization, we do have a high tolerance for risk. Like we have seen the Lord do some amazing things, and we miss sometimes. No question. Selfish ambition can work its way in, and sometimes we have to repent. Those things do take place, and this is one of the times where it's from the Lord, and so we pursued it without this strong technology background. Like I've got some, but I'm not a developer, and yet God started providing the right thing so that we could pull together a prototype. We went to the child welfare leadership in Texas, who we had developed this relationship with, and said, "What do you think about this?" And they're over the moon about it. They're thinking, "Oh my
Hmm.
goodness, if our caseworkers could submit needs of families that
Oh,
could
wow.
get to a network of churches who could say yes to helping instantly all the time." I mean, mind blowing for them. They're used to caseworkers showing up, with their little Rolodex or whatever and calling who they can to serve the
Hmm.
families. But this was going to create a mechanism of scalability. Uh,
Wow.
and the big rock here is foster families is one thing, but really there's so much prevention work and stabilization work and reunification work. You'd be shocked to know that a family, like a mom loses her kids into the foster care system, and she's doing what she can to get them back. She's got a new apartment. She's not in that bad relationship, but she's got no beds. And the caseworker can't get the kids back to mom
Oh,
until they
wow.
have beds, right?
Yeah.
Well, where are the beds going to come from? Should we say that's the government's job to provide the beds? Well, mom has just got a brand new role. Like she can't afford to buy the beds. So literally this whole thing is being gummed up. And dude, if you got an email that said in your zip code there's a mom with two kids, who's doing what she can and she needs 2 beds, and you see that email, like, I can buy those beds. I'd be happy to set those beds up for mom, right? Like, that's what it is.
No way. How
That's what it is.
cool. Okay.
Yes.
And so, like, right now, like, I could just go download the app, put in my info, and then start getting updates of what's happening in my community. Like, do you have to, is there
Yes.
like a vetting process or?
Yeah, great question. So, the beds are one thing, right? Mom needs the beds, but mom needs more than the beds. So, we think about this as, uh, a real-time need that leads to the possibility of a relationship, okay?
Whoa, I like that.
Yeah. So, I get this request. Yes, you can download the Care Portal app, you can go to the website, you can see needs in your community. Care Portal is currently in 38 states across the country. Um, so there's a decent chance Care Portal is active where you are. You go on there and you see the needs. But providing the resources can come from anyone. So a business, somebody who's not of faith at all, a sports team, like anyone,
Hmm.
anyone can go on and see the need and say, "Oh, mom needs 2 beds. I'll contribute $150 towards that." Right?
Wow.
Anybody can do
Yeah.
that. However, relationship is also central to why we do what we do. And it would be sinful for us to just connect a complete stranger to this single mom who's trying to get her life back together. That would be wrong on all kinds of levels, and incomplete. And so for us, having the local church at the point of care, always being the one who shows up at mom's place or dad's place or grandma's place, whoever it is, being the one who shows up, that is core to what Care Portal is about.
Hmm.
And so we spend a ton of time and energy and resources training, recruiting, and supporting and training churches so that
Okay.
they will show up with dignity and understanding, and a priority of making themselves available to a meaningful connection. Like, how could I be present for this family so that they feel the love of Christ, so that they're willing to be in some sort of connection community with me,
Hmm.
and this could go on further potentially, right? You can't
Yeah.
make that happen, but we set the table, we stack the deck so that that can happen.
Yeah. And is this what you call wraparound care?
You could call it that. Yeah. So
Okay.
yes. And so wraparound care, often when it's said like that, often is like, we're going to, wrap around this family in a very intentional, defined way. Right. That's what people usually say when wrap around. And what this is an organic beginning to that. This is like,
Okay.
they didn't know me, I don't know them. They said yes to the caseworker to put their need into the platform. Most of the time, the families don't even know who Care Portal is. All they know is a caseworker said, "Hey, you have a need, and I might be able to get some help from the community. You okay with me sharing it?" Mom says yes. When she says yes, the need goes into the platform. It comes with the story. It comes with what's necessary, what's going on, and it's vetted, right? So this isn't mom advocating on her own behalf. This is a caseworker advocating on her behalf, which means, John, when you get that push notification or the email or whatever, you don't have to try to figure out, is this a legitimate need, right? You don't have to discern that. All you're
Yeah.
thinking is, can I help?
Okay. Yeah. And so the caseworker uploads it to Care Portal, and that sends a message to a church in the area, or does it send it to the app and everybody in the church has downloaded it because they know our church is involved in this?
So it's kind of all the above. right? So churches sign up and they build a response team. So
Oh, cool.
there's a point person at the church, and then they have 2, 5, 50, 500, whatever people who join the Care Portal response team. And the church decides what radius, how far from our church do we want to see needs from, and how do we want to get them to our people. Sometimes all the needs go to everybody. Sometimes they get filtered through the church. The technology can do all those things. But basically, the church gets to set up their own framework for how they're going to engage.
Wow.
And in addition to that, random person, Jimmy John, can go to the platform, download it, and see the needs, or the State Farm agency, or the soccer team, or whatever.
Yeah.
But when those folks do that, when they get to the app and they look stuff up, their point of engagement is to say, I have the resources. When the church says yes, their point of engagement could be, I have the resources and I'm willing to make a relationship, right?
Wow.
And
So it's like we'll invite them over for dinner. I'll help like come
it could
over
be
and
that.
clean the house, something like
Totally.
that.
It's
Yeah.
totally that. It's like, I'm gonna show up at the door
Wow.
with the bed, and if that turns into more, cool. But it doesn't have to, but it could, you know? And so we have a way of getting the resources. So let's say, State Farm agency sees the request, it's compelling to them. They say, I'll give the $150. It goes through our platform. We notify the church that's closest. We're like, hey, there's $150 for these beds. Do you want to take the lead? Church says yes. We transfer the money. I don't know if you can see. You can't. Hold on. We give all the churches one of these. Oop, is it too blind? There we
Oh,
go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Care Portal Visa card.
Yeah, can see that? It's a little
Yeah.
blurry. We give all the churches one of those, and that $150 gets sent to the church's Care Portal card. Who
Oh,
said
how cool.
yes. Yeah. And so now that church has the money, they go buy the beds, and they then show up at mom's place. Like they connect with her, and they go engage. And this is the way that we put the church at the point of care, whether they have the resources or not. Like, the resources can come from anywhere, but
Yeah.
we are uniquely positioned as followers of Christ to be in community, right?
Yeah.
To flesh on flesh. And that's what we're trying to create. We call that meaningful connections. And our whole goal is to scale meaningful connections through the local church. That's what we're
Mm.
actually after.
That is so cool. So, how many churches are signed up right now?
Yeah, think we're just over 7,000 church response teams across the country.
Oh my gosh. And what kind of impact is that having in the foster care system?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So last year in 2024, we saw 140,000 people served through local churches across the country.
Whoa.
And some of the time, those were families whose kids were in foster care and they were able to be reunited. Sometimes it was kids who were in a home and they were able to be prevented from going to foster care because some special needs were met.
Mm.
Sometimes it was like, grandma just got these grandkids, and if we don't come alongside grandma, they're gonna have to go somewhere else. And so that they were stabilized there. Sometimes it's reunification, all of those kinds of things are part of the technology. We ask the caseworkers the right questions to know what the needs are for. And so it's beautiful. We've got stories out the wazoo, and we have some data. I mean, we
Yeah.
asked the caseworkers, did meeting this need help prevent the child from going to foster care? And when that's the purpose, 96% of the time, their answer is yes, it actually did help. I mean,
No way.
yeah, God is doing something, bro.
Quick word to pastors and church leaders. If your heart is to see people activated in their missional calling, we would love for you to be part of our next Activated Church gathering. This is a space for pastors who want to learn from other pastors and leaders how they are effectively activating their people to mission. We know that this will be a time that'll strengthen you and inspire you. And if that resonates, fill out the interest form below. We would love to connect and explore what partnership could look like. That is so cool. Okay, what are some of your favorite stories?
Oh, okay. Uh, so girl, her name was Mikasha. Mikasha's 17. Uh, she's aging out of foster care. She's been in it for a while. Her relationship with her foster parents is not what we wish it would be, right?
Mm.
They're not going to be family when she turns 18.
Yeah.
And she's pregnant. Mikasha's pregnant. And, she's about to be on her own. And she's got nothing, man. No family, right? And she doesn't have money to get herself going. She can't even afford to buy a crib. Uh, but Mikasha has a caseworker. They know what she's about to walk into. And the caseworker has CarePortal, right? So the caseworker, Mikasha lives in Cincinnati. Caseworker puts the request into CarePortal for a crib for this 17-year-old mom to be, and can anybody help? So instantly, that request goes out, right? A bunch of churches get it. The Denbo family, just down the road, they go to People's Church in Cincinnati, and they get this request, and they look at it, and they say, well, I mean, we can help with this crib. So they respond. And caseworker gets permission from Mikasha for them to connect. And so the Denbos go to Mikasha's apartment that she just moves into. She's 18 now, right? This is the clock is ticking, and she's there. And the Denbos see Mikasha, and they're like, Mikasha needs more than a crib.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and we can do more. Like, being in proximity changes our perspective.
Yeah.
It just does.
It was
And
like you in the field in Haiti. Like you just
exactly.
got to be there.
You just got to be there. Like, if
Yeah.
you just got to be there. And so the Dembos are there. Like, the next 2 miles down the road, they're there, you know? You don't have to go to Haiti to get there. You can, but you can go cross the street to get there, you know? And so they ask her if she wants a baby shower. She says yes. They ask her if she needs help to get through driver's ed so she can get her license, and they invite her to go to church. They just start like treating Mikasha like family, you
Huh.
know? And through that radical and simple love and support, Mikasha's life is forever changed. I mean, she
Huh.
committed her life to the Lord. She becomes part of the church. She is raising her daughter. Her daughter does not go into foster care, right? The
Yeah.
cycle is broken.
That's
She
wild.
goes into full-time ministry, actually, to help care
Oh,
for,
really?
yes, young
That's
adults aging
cool.
out of foster care, like, just like her. I mean, this is generation changing, eternity changing kind of stuff that can happen. And dude, it started with a request for a crib.
That's so cool. D How big is the need? Like, what are the stats in the foster care
Yeah.
system?
Man, so there are roughly 7 million hotline calls a year.
Wow.
And a hotline call comes from a neighbor or a doctor or a nurse or a teacher, a coach, where they say, "Hey, there's something going on here. I think this child's not safe.
Huh.
Maybe it's abuse, but most likely it's neglect, and
Huh.
most likely it's neglect related to poverty." And so the need is 7 million kids a year-ish, right? I mean,
Wow.
it's not small. And then from there, sometimes the cases get dismissed and everything's okay, but oftentimes there's something going on. And our objective is to center the something that's going on and put the church in connection there. Like,
Yeah.
we believe that connection changes everything. And so when we're looking for how do we build these networks, we call them care sharing networks. How do we build these care sharing networks all across the country where agencies and schools and businesses and churches, like everybody who is involved can get involved. Um, there's so much more room for us to grow. Every city that we're in 600 some odd counties now. Every single city that we're in, there's more opportunity than what we're dealing with so far.
When you say more opportunity, are you saying does if you took all the churches, got everyone involved, are there enough resources in church to tackle the problem?
Oh
Or
man.
is it completely like it's too big and we're just gonna keep doing our best?
So there is no shortage of resource in the kingdom.
Hmm.
Hard stop. Like
Yeah.
there's
That's absolutely the right perspective.
there's not.
100%.
There's not.
Yeah.
And the poor will always be among us.
Hmm.
Both are true at the same time. And so when you ask, man, can we move the dirt? Can we change the culture? Can we actually reverse the foster care crisis in our country? Yes, we can. Yes, the church can do it. Can we eliminate the need for foster care? Can we eliminate poverty? No. No, we
Mm.
can't. But we can
Yeah.
be in a way different position than we are today
Yeah.
if the church does what God calls us to do. If we lived out Matthew 25, right? I
Mm.
was hungry, I was naked, I was a stranger, I was thirsty, and you showed up for me. Like if we just did that, the most vulnerable kids in our country and therefore families are in and around the foster care system. Homelessness and sex trafficking and incarceration, they're
Hmm.
all heavily tied to foster care. So we
Wow.
focus our energy on going upstream and strengthening families when we can and coming alongside foster families when we need to and becoming them when we're called to. But literally the narrative in our nation could be we used to have a massive foster care crisis,
Hmm.
but the church.
Come on.
And now families are strengthened and stabilized. And sure,
Yeah.
there's still abuse that happens. And sure, there's still neglect that happens. And the church is there.
Hmm. Wow. And you mentioned that one city in Texas that I
Brownwood.
mean, yeah, massive transformation. How many cities like that are experiencing something like that?
Oh man. So I don't know the number to how many.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the foster care numbers have been dropping. So praise God for that. I can tell you that in certain places like Oklahoma, where CarePortal has been for a long time, they've had a 40% reduction in kids in foster care over the
Oh
period
my
of time that
gosh.
CarePortal's been there. Yeah. Florida has had a similar transition, and CarePortal's all across the state of Florida. And CarePortal's not the but for. Like, there's a lot of things happening. There's a
Yeah.
lot of a lot of activity, and I can say that CarePortal is part of it. We are part of creating this fabric of connectivity so that people can be cared for in more effective ways. And I want to see that happen all over the country.
Yeah. Wow. Uh, okay. Speaking to families, I know that there's families listening right now, and they're God is speaking to them. So what advice would you give them? Uh, I guess I'm sure that there's some sobering advice, like, hey, here's the challenges that are coming, but also just like I think the profound moment is when you finally got God's emotions, and you're like, that transforms everything, and all of a sudden, it's not like begrudging work. It's kind of like I'm motivated from my heart. So, yeah, just maybe give some advice to families that are like, I want to do this, but I am intimidated.
So m- my advice to my children is do whatever God tells you to do.
It's pretty solid advice.
Yeah, do that, right? Do that. So Adrian Lewis does not have the market cornered on anything, but the Lord does. So do what he says, no matter what I say. So that statement out in the atmosphere, uh, sometimes It's it's just like, what do I have in my hands right now? Don't make excuses. Just like, what do I have? Do I have a little time? Do I have a little money? Do I know a neighbor? Like, is my friend fostering and they could use some help? Like, what is in proximity for me right now? Do I go to Care Portal and I download the app and I start looking at needs? Do you have $100 that you could contribute towards something? Like all of
Wow.
those kinds of things are right, like right now. They don't take any discernment on, is this the kind of thing God would want me to do? Right?
Yeah.
You just do the little yeses, and then maybe some other things come and you just do that next thing. And so uh I don't think it has to be complicated to
Mm.
move. I'm not saying it's gonna
Yeah.
be easy, but it's not complicated to move. You just
Yeah.
do like the next thing that's like, that's the right thing to do here. And Care Portal's trying to make that easy. And there are a lot of other avenues to try to make that easy. And if you feel called to foster, please hear me. It is hard. It is hard. Like 2 nights ago, one of my boys ran away. Like this is this is not easy. I'm not gonna sugarcoat the calling. My wife and I are working through stuff that we wish we didn't have to work through, you know? And I'm here to say, if you are called to foster, then don't do it alone. Have people in your life so that you are not isolated. Have your wrap group, people wrap around you. Be intentional about community, because it won't be a cakewalk.
Yeah. Are there any uh themes, like, if you look at a family and you're like, you know what, actually this probably isn't something right for you right now? Are there signs, or are there seasons where you kind of advise families, hey, it is intense, you should maybe not get involved as deeply?
Yeah. Again, I go back to my first statement: do whatever God tells you to do.
Yeah.
So regardless of your circumstances, that might be exactly what he's saying is, I know you're in the middle of some craziness or whatever, but do it. My assistant, her name is Kimberly. She's single and she's been fostering for the last year and a half, and it's been hard, man. And this is what God has called her to do. She's in a unique position for it. So I am careful to say that the answer is no for anyone.
Yeah.
I,
Wow.
because I don't know, like I don't know. But I will say that why you do it matters. And if you're doing it to be obedient to the Lord, if you're doing it because you know you have capacity and capability, if you're doing it because there is a dire need in your community and it's right in your face, like those are good reasons to do it.
Hmm.
If you're doing it because you feel guilted,
Yeah.
nah, yeah, like let's not do that. If you're
Yeah.
doing it because you're trying to fill a hole in your own heart, nah, nah, let's not do that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. That's really helpful. And then I'm sure that there's people listening. They're like, I want my church to get involved with this. How do you? What's that process like? How do you get your church involved?
Yeah. I mean, the simple thing is go to careportal.org and fish around. And the process to engage the church is real simple. You can enroll, right on the website, and somebody from our team will reach out to you, and they'll show you the way to kind of get going. Um, it, Ask somebody, your missions director or pastor or whoever, like, hey, what are we doing to serve the most vulnerable kids in our community? How are we doing that, right? Have you ever heard of Care Portal? Would you be okay if some of the people from our church got trained to serve our neighbors better? The questions are simple. It really takes some leadership to galvanize and to start. So we're looking for people who either are or know those who could kick something off. Um, Sometimes it's brand new to the church, and sometimes it's just a more effective way to do what the church has been trying to do.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So the barrier of entry is just willpower. That's it.
I like that. Uh, this has been a fascinating conversation, and I can't wait to look at the app because it's such a brilliant use of technology, and it's something that our modern world absolutely affords is connecting people in churches. Um, Let me just end with this. Like, what is your vision for the future and where this goes? What is that a dream that God's put in your heart, the promised land that you're kind of marching towards?
Man, I love it. Um, so we've been at this for a decade now, and we've seen over 500,000 people served through churches.
Huh.
I told you last year was 140,000, people. So the trajectory is moving,
Mm-hmm.
but we see a day not that far in the future, maybe 3, 4 years out, where we'll be serving over 1 million people a year through churches. And we know that if that happens, the ripple effects are culture shifting. The church will be firmly planted in the center of caring for the most vulnerable. The narrative will be that. And we've seen movements like this happen before. I'll use one that's not nearly as spirit filled, but practical, like Uber. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a decade ago, the concept of getting into the stranger's car that wasn't yellow was no way. Like,
Yeah.
the word taxi in the car and all the things made you trust it. You're not trusting this 19, whatever. You're not trusting this guy's car, right? But Uber, they changed our minds. They put some systems in place that built a currency of trust so that we would do that. And now, who do you know that hasn't used an Uber, right? Like, care sharing has become, or excuse me, ride sharing has become mainstream. And we see a day where care sharing becomes mainstream,
Yeah.
where it's as common for a church to have a care sharing platform like CarePortal as it is for them to have a worship team. It just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the way we serve our neighbors. It just makes sense. And it's as common for a caseworker to have a care sharing platform as it is for them to have a laptop. Like, you just need these tools for your job. We see a day when that's coming, and I'm grateful, humbled, honored, scared a little bit of how God's gonna shape it all up. It's a crazy adventure. I can't see it all, but man, don't you want to be part of a nation that's known for caring for their neighbors like this and
Yeah.
the most vulnerable at that? And yeah.
Yeah. Ah, that's so cool. Well, I know, yeah, at the Send, we're so excited to be able to partner with you guys
And
and push more people into this brilliant God idea. So thank you for saying yes to God so many times and pioneering this new work. And thanks for the conversation.
I appreciate you, John Mark. Thank you. And thank you for what the Send does. It's part of building the kingdom.